So guys, the food you eat gives you the energy. We know that whatever energy you get, the whole process of metabolism is based upon getting energy from your food on one hand, and then decomposing or degrading that food into smaller particles which can be used for other purposes also in addition to getting the energy. But what is the entry point of the food in your body? That is, of course, your digestive system, which starts from your mouth and ends till the large intestine. So you take your food in the mouth, and straight away the digestion starts when you start chewing the food. That is what we say the mechanical digestion. It increases the surface area of the food, which will be then acted upon by enzymes like lipases, like the enzymes which convert the carbohydrate into smaller particles or lipids into smaller particles. Amylase is also another very important enzyme. Then also of course, in addition to the mechanical digestion I just mentioned, there is also chemical digestion, which again starts from your mouth. And your saliva contains lots of enzyme. It contains the most important of which is, of course, the amylase, which start breaking your carbohydrates into simpler sugars. Through the esophagus, the food enters into the small intestine, and the first portion, a very important portion as far as the digestion is concerned, the first portion of the small intestine, of course, is the duodenum. It's a major site for the digestion of the food through chemical processes. The bile enters into your food. It starts acting upon your food in this part of the small intestine. It is, the bile is produced by the liver. It is stored in the gallbladder, and one of the most important functions of bile is to emulsify the fats. Of course, in addition to the bile, another very important component of digestion which takes place, actually in the duodenum, is the pancreatic juice. The pancreatic juice contains many enzymes like amylase, lipase, and proteases. It, in that way, break down all the important macromolecules like carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. Then there comes the last portion of the small intestine, that is jejunum and ileum. It is mainly involved in the absorption of the nutrients. Keep in mind that not only you have to degrade the larger molecules into smaller molecules, which can be used further for the energy, but also you have to reabsorb the nutrients which are part of your food. They have to be absorbed during the process of digestion. If they are lost during the process of, let's say, excretion, your body will be at a great deficit. So that's why the absorption of nutrients is also very important. This absorption very much is brought about by the lining of the small intestine. This is covered with the small hair-like structures, villi and microvilli. They increase the surface area of the small intestine for the purpose of absorption. Then finally, the food comes into the large intestine. In the large intestine, the major function of the large intestine is the absorption of water from the food, so that you end up with a very dry food or dry particles of the food. And also the electrolytes are also absorbed in this process. You not only need nutrients, also electrolytes shouldn't be lost during the excretory process. So in this way, the main nutrients and the electrolytes, their level, their concentration is kept in a very, they are always in a concentration which is required by the body. They don't, or the large and small intestine, the absorption process in these organs don't let the loss of these important components. And finally, once the electrolyte has been absorbed, once the nutrients have been absorbed and the water have been taken out of the food, that most of the time the dry mass of the food which is left, it is called the feces. These feces are then excreted through the anus or from the rectum until the excretion process is completed. So in that way, you can see, starting from the mouth till the very end, your body is acting upon your food through different chemical and mechanical ways until you get the only thing which has to be excreted in the form of feces. During this whole process of the digestion, metabolism or the metabolic machinery is also functioning, because while you are digesting the food, that digestion, that process of digestion is what is needed for the most efficient metabolism of the food. First of all is the carbohydrate metabolism, which we always say that it's the central point of metabolism is the carbohydrate metabolism. The digestion gives rise to the formation of small carbohydrate molecules like sugar molecules like simple sugars or glucose. Then the absorption of the glucose from the small intestine and the bloodstream, and this glucose then is utilized for either it can be used for the for getting energy through the process of glycolysis. It can be used. It is used for the formation of glycogen so that it can be stored, and then it can be reused whenever needed. And of course, it can be also be converted into fats. Similar to carbohydrates, the protein metabolism again is started by the breaking down of the protein into their smaller constituents. That's of course the amino acids. These amino acids are absorbed through the intestine, and then they become part of the bloodstream, and from there they reach to different parts of the bodies. These amino acids are involved in the protein synthesis, of course. These amino acids are involved in the conversion of or making of new amino acids, and of course these amino acids are involved in the making of the enzymes and hormones, and they can also be converted into fats or glucose. Of course, the conversion of amino acid into glucose is the process known as gluconeogenesis. Then finally, the lipids. Lipids metabolism again is a very challenging part of the metabolism, because lipids are the most potent of the energy containing molecules, but at the same time their excessive accumulation in your body can have many problems. First of all, digestion, major part of the digestion takes place again during the emulsification process in the intestine, which then convert the lipids into smaller constituent fatty acids and glycerol. Then as happened with the carbohydrates and the proteins, lipids, these fatty acids have to be absorbed, but this absorption doesn't take place directly by putting them into the blood, but that takes place through the lymphatic system because of a different size of these fatty acid molecules.